Yo, what is going on, everybody? Let's go fucking Niners, man. Niners.
Bang. All day.
Fuck yeah.
Let's go.
Okay, so we had a bit of a tough go, okay? Yesterday's game was not the prettiest game, but here we go.
Standards.
We got Kinky Sphincter, who's been a member for 28 months, says, yo, my man, been a minute. I know, dude, it's good to see you, man. It's good to see you. And we'll be doing these crossover streams on this channel and on the new channel, the sports channel called Dre Area Sports. We'll have them simulcast on both channels until we get that channel kind of up and running. We'll be doing this as well. So we'll be doing the simulcast. So if you guys want to leave a super chat, have any statements you want to make about the games that we're going to be talking about, which is every playoff game this past weekend, go ahead and do so. Make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to both channels, which is Nicotina, and then my sports channel, which is Dre Area Sports. And guys, Saturday was not for the faint at heart. I mean, I thought for a fact, I was like, dude, they're going to dominate this game. Niners are going to win. It's going to be great. And man, I almost had a fucking heart attack. I almost shit the bed just watching this game. I mean, it was just so much. Daniel, what did you think of the Niners' performance on Saturday?
It was stressful, man, and I think you did shit the bed because I was sitting right next to you.
Oh. Hot snakes, man. Hot snakes.
Oh, baby.
Under the bus.
You know what? It didn't quite go the way I envisioned and had hoped. At the end results were what we wanted, but it was a rough game. A lot of penalties. A lot of equipment failures with
missed
the
tackles,
with the
missed
cleats.
tackles. What did I say last week? Missed
Yeah,
tackles.
man. I mean, but you know what? Overall, when we needed a play to win the game, Brock Purdy got us down there, got that touchdown, and the defense did their job. So really, an incredible team effort, man. It's just so glad to beat those Packers.
Yeah,
Brock
man.
Purdy.
Fuck those Packers.
Fuck
Dre, tell us. You were all the way in Warner Park. What was happening on your end during that game?
Just a little bit of panic at times. I mean, look, at the end of the day, like Daniel said, the Niners got the job done. Brock Purdy, I think, answered the call. Everybody was waiting to see, can the Niners come back in a fourth quarter down by more than 5 points? We all know the record that Kyle Shanahan holds right now. No Deebo Samuel, inclement weather, everything just culminating. Everything we talked about last week kind of came to fruition. So for them to pull it out at the end, I mean, that's what you're looking. This is a results, results-based league. They got the results everybody was looking for, and bang, bang, what can you say?
That's it, man. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Yep.
And just like Antonio here, who's a badass, make sure you smash the like button. If you go over to my stream over on the Nicotina channel, you can also become a member or join us on Patreon to help support the channel. And I do appreciate everyone who is a member or who is a member over on Patreon. We got RJ in here, a buddy of mine. His 49ers are good, though. Going to be a fun game on Sunday. Yes, we're going to talk about that game between the Niners and the Lions. But, and fuck the Packers. Yo, fuck the Packer. Fuck all of them. Niner for life.
Packers, whatever. Yeah, let's go.
Oh, yeah.
Niner for life says, before that missed field goal, I really thought we were dead. Our season was over, and I choked up. Dude, you can ask Niner Dan over here. I was watching it right next to him. I'd written it off. I was like, we fucking blew it.
You drove the truck off the ledge.
Yeah. Oh, God.
In the second half, right before halftime, and he misses that field goal. I mean, it's something, again, this is stuff that we talked about. Everything that could have gone wrong during the game was going wrong. And you don't want to go into the halftime like that. I mean, we were going to get the ball. We go 3 and out right after that.
Oh.
I mean, for us to pull that out at the very end, I mean,
it was incredible. I mean, we talked a lot about getting pressure on the quarterback last time.
And didn't happen.
That didn't happen. No sacks.
But I was telling Daniel, now the Packers were the number 2 team against the rush in terms of the pass rush. So they were the number 2 team to in terms of protecting their quarterback from the pass rush. The Lions, I believe, are number 7. So of course they're going to drop down a bit. But that's why the Packers didn't give much up against Dallas or against the 49ers. Because I mean, they were getting pressure on him, but they weren't actually getting to him. They were not getting home, and that was tough. It was like, holy shit. In fact, look, we actually have video of me watching the game, and this is what it was like. Just total silence as Brock was throwing passes left and right, where it was like, dude, where are you going? Where are you going with this ball, man? Like, I've never seen Brock Purdy play so bad in my life. I was like, oh my God, what is going on?
I don't know what that glove thing was in the first quarter. I mean,
he's like, yeah, they just took it off.
He discarded it after like 2 series, so I don't know what they did.
It wasn't a good time to try something new.
You got to think that they were trying to do something to at least prepare for the poor conditions, and they ended up not executing very well. And I know Brock Purdy has already struggled in games where it's raining. Obviously, early in the season, the Cleveland game's a good example. Good defense they played against. I think even in that game, he did what he had to do to get them down the field to kick the game-winning field goal. And of course, we've already had the notion that Moody, could be a little inconsistent once once we got it going. And, he hasn't had a lot of opportunities to kick during the season. I know that, but still you got to come through and give him credit. He did hit the 52-yarder. That ended up being huge. So at the end of the day, again, they did what they had to do. They made the plays that counted, and we got the result we wanted.
Yeah.
And real quick, guys, we got a $5 super chat from Niner for Life saying, Niner and Nicotina Andre, love you, brother. Hey, I love you too, man. And also, too, Niner for Life is a huge fucking fan on that movie right there, Top Gun Maverick. Fuck yeah, dude. That's a great movie.
Classic.
But thank you for the $5 super chat. I appreciate it, and I love you too, man. What's it? Where did it go? He also writes, was it the bye week rust? I don't know. I thought about that. I was like, is it rust?
It kind of looked like it a little bit. I thought they came out jittery, so I think that it was a little bit of a factor. I don't think
absolutely it was a factor.
Biggest factor, but it was definitely there,
Well, the Packers take the ball to begin the game, and the offense is just sitting there for a good 6 or 7 minutes was that first drive by the Packers.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they were chomping at the bit to get on the field, and I think that had a lot to do with the slow start as well too. Yeah,
I think so. Let's go by the numbers here, and let's take a look at the entire all the stats of the game. This is brought to you by nobody, just us. And here we go. Bam. Okay, so Jordan Love was 21 of 34 for 194 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks. He ended up having a 72.4 quarterback rating, so it actually did drop low. He had 2 picks, and they were huge because that led to 10 49er points. A field goal, and then a touchdown. Actually, it only to 3 points because the last one ended the game. So I guess we could thank him for that one.
Yeah. Well.
But he did throw 2 picks in the game. And one of them, the first one, was such a momentum swinger. That was huge. And he threw a horrible pass way behind their tight end, and he had to reach back for it. And then Dre Greenlaw, I fucking love that guy. He got the interception, and that was great. As for rushing, Aaron Jones was killing it. 18 rushes for 108 yards, and he averages
100-yard rusher in 50 games. I believe
yeah,
it was.
Yeah. But look at that 53-yarder he got. That was the bulk of his night right there.
It was. In fact,
but that was the bulk of the yardage.
If you subtract his 53 yards, that long run that he had, he was only averaging about 3.5 yards a rush. So really, he wasn't doing all. I mean, he had a good game, but it wasn't as big as the numbers show. It's averaging 6 yards.
It was more of the timing of those big runs that made it feel even more impactful in my mind. And I'll admit that that long 53-yard run was at that point where the panic started to sink in a little bit. I'll admit that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I was going at that point. I was over the edge already. I was like,
they were already up, I think 7 at that point, and they were threatening to,
Well, they couldn't afford to give up another big play, and they did, and they had them pinned back in their own zone. I mean, they were on like the 6-yard line or some shit like their 8-yard line, and they ran for 53 fucking yards. I was like, you got to be kidding me with this shit. Again, I could not believe it, man.
Again, poor tackling. I talked about it last week. It's kind of the theme for these defenses that are remaining. If the best tackling team, I think, is obviously going to be there at the very end.
Yeah.
Weather impacted both sides of the ball. We know that. You mentioned the inerrant throws by Jordan Love. Purdy had a handful of them as well too. So
for sure he did.
You don't see anything that pops out at you from the Niners side. No gaudy numbers. McCaffrey, obviously had the 2 big touchdowns. He's an absolute gamer. Niners don't win that game without him. We all know that.
Yeah.
Him stepping up huge in pretty much for the absence of Debo played huge, but everybody had a drop pass. George had a pretty bad drop pass on 2nd down on that last drive.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, he still had a nice game. Kittle, look at that, 4 receptions, 81 yards, got a touchdown. He had 7 targets.
Like I said, they're not gaudy numbers, but obviously
not gaudy,
impactful
it's impactful
when it counted.
Yeah.
Antonio Baker writes, the kick going forward after the block was big because if the ball backwards, the Packers pick it and scoop it up for a score.
Yeah.
Venom writes, both teams look rusty. The 49ers defense really picked it up. And with Brock Purdy just picking his targets correctly at the end of the game. Yeah, that last drive was clutch. I mean, he was perfect.
6 of 7, 48 yards, and
that's the Brock Purdy we know.
And don't forget the what was it, an 8-yard, 9-yard run to set up the game-winning touchdown. So
I was blowing up Dre Dog's phone at that point. Sorry, homie.
That's my boy David. Shout out to David.
Hey.
Kyle not playing. JP Mason when Debo was out is still dumb. Okay, let's talk about that. So you come out after halftime. And the first play you run is a handoff to Juwan Jennings.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, it's almost like he forgot that Debo was out of the game. He was like, shit. Hey, he's not out there?
Where's Elijah Mitchell?
Yeah. Where's fucking Jordan Mason? Why was he getting the
understand Kyle Shanahan at times just baffles you with some of these decisions as far as personnel goes. I mean, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a trust factor. I don't know if it's just the scheme or his scripted plays coming into the game or coming after the halftime.
It might have been scripted after half.
But that's my point. They run these scripted plays, and yeah, that's great. But when you lose the personnel for those plays, then you got to change it up. Then you got to do something different. By putting Juwan Jennings in that play, it was like, what? What was that? And then he didn't even get anywhere.
I'm sure he's like, you want me to run that play?
He's like, here I come, motherfuckers! You know what I mean? It was just like, okay, there goes that.
That's one of the keys in yesterday's game and why Green Bay was able to, I think, kind of throw their weight around is we didn't have our enforcer. They took him out in the first series he played 4 snaps, I want to say, in their first series, and was pretty much gone with the concussion. Came back after he was cleared and then re-injures the shoulder. We don't know where he's expected to suit up next week. I know we could definitely use him. It would be huge.
Fuck yeah, we can.
A huge disadvantage to not have Debo next week.
You're going against a Lions team that is healthy right now, and we need everyone on deck.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
All hands on deck.
Niner for Life writes, Juwan Jennings is the unsung hero of the 49ers receiving corps. Yeah, no, he had a good game.
No, he did.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Huge.
5 catches for 61 yards. Yes, he caught that one pass that he threw it really high.
Well, Purdy put it between like three or 4 defenders. Like, only Jennings could get it, and give him credit. He went up and grabbed it at the highest point. But then again, Purdy made those types of throws in clutch moments, and what else can you say about the kid? Everybody wants to bring him down. Everybody wants to talk about how he's not clutch.
Right.
He doesn't have the arm strength. He's got small hands. Whatever you want to say about the guy. The guy's a gamer. The guy knows how to win, and that's all that matters.
And these fucking Brock haters. If you look at the box score for Brock, 23 for 39, 252. And the haters would be like, "Oh, it should have been more like 375 and all this other bullshit."
Yeah, it's like what,
Bro, that's
like
still
Dak
a fucking
Prescott
good game. Yeah, that's still a good game right there.
That's a really good game.
It was a hard game. I mean, there
Well,
were some passes where you're like, "Whoa, what the fuck is that?" But then,
I mean, it's
then
clear.
He made some throws that were like, "Wow, you see that pass? Like, holy!" Like,
Well,
like
at the same time, though, yeah, that was a great pass. But at the same time, I think it's clear that he has a hard time playing in the rain. Every game he's played where he's in the rain, he has played like dog shit. He struggled mightily. And there were passes that he was throwing like way over everyone's head, or like just short. But
yeah,
Juwan Jennings.
The timing seemed off with all of them. I mean, you could even see they were flashing the camera at Purdy a couple times after the play was done, and you could see him barking at his receivers about either not running the wrong route or not running the correct route or not being in the right position. We all know Purdy strives on his timing with his receivers. When it's not there, that's when you see those inerrant throws. That's when you see those mistakes, surfacing. So again, you're not accustomed to having some of those guys in there for some of those plays, because Debo's usually the one taking on that responsibility as your number one receiver. Or him and Brandon Ayuk share that, share that responsibility.
And then here's a shot of that catch we're talking about on that final drive where he throws it high, and then Juwan Jennings has to go up and get it.
Oh, look at he got crushed too.
No, three defenders.
Look
I'm telling
at that.
Look at
that, dude.
I don't understand. I don't understand why.
Did he get crushed? Let me see. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, he got smashed, bro.
He got
and now it's tripping out on me. It's like, oh, I can't do it.
I don't want to do it. Check all the boxes.
Yeah. But here, I'll pull it back up again.
I mean, that's a fucking throw right there. Look,
but see, like in the midst of having a horrible game, he would do things like that where he would throw a pass that was like, man, that was incredible.
I mean, the dime to George Kittle for the first touchdown, that was a beautiful ball. He's never gonna get that credit. He's always gonna be the seventh round, Mr. Irrelevant.
Yep.
I don't know. Until he can stack championships, I think you're always going to hear people talking.
Always going to hear
this way
people
about
talking
him.
shit.
That's just kind of the nature of the game.
But
it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
Oh yeah, he did get crushed.
There it is,
all the way to the ground.
There you go. Eat some.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that was with pressure in his grill. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They even showed a different angle when they kept it back in the back of the offensive line. You see him completely take that hit and still deliver. I mean, the guy's an absolute beast.
Yeah.
The run by McCaffrey that scored a touchdown, I thought was really good. He broke a tackle, got away, and he ran it for a touchdown. But then, man, the kickoff return was just such a gut punch. And not only that, but the guy fumbled the fucking ball, and a Packer player landed on it. I was like, oh my god!
I mean, it was still bouncing. Right, it was still bouncing in the direction of the return. So
yeah, it was still going. It was like, let's go!
I'm telling you, everything that could have bounced against the 49ers did, and the perseverance for everybody to come through. I mean, that's why we're still talking about that's why we're talking the way we're talking about it today, because it could have completely gone the other way. We're having a different conversation. Lot of opportunities, and let's be frank, Green Bay out executed the 49ers, I think, pretty much for a majority of the game. But championship caliber teams with the depth that the 49ers have, it's pretty much evident right there when it counts the most in the most crucial times.
They did execute really well, the Packers, but the Niners.
We all watched the game. We all saw what happened.
Niners defense in the red zone was really good against a really hot Packer team, and
absolutely.
And Jordan Love was slinging the ball.
He was playing lights out. He was playing lights out.
He was playing good. He was playing solid. And like I said, offline is, if the Packers played any of these NFC teams this weekend, they would have won.
They would have won.
They just came across a Niner team that was more determined to fucking win than they were.
Yeah.
I mean McCaffrey said himself in the post game, he said, this was a game that was unlike the way we normally play, but we were able to, put it together and
Gut
do
it
what we
out,
normally
man.
do in the last drive.
Yeah.
I mean, that looked like the Niners that we know, and that looks like the Brock Purdy that we know. But there were some pivotal plays in this game that made a huge difference. I mean, obviously, one was the interception by Jerry Greenlaw. Two was the catch that Brandon Ayuk made at his ankles
Yeah,
for that
was a
first
big
down,
one.
which
Yeah,
that led to
was
the
big.
field goal.
That was one of the
Yeah.
biggest.
And then
catches of
the
game, in my
diving
opinion.
catch that he made, it was a combination of both the pass and the catch by Brandon Ayuk, where he dove
Yep.
and kind of landed on the ball,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
just confidently
It was-
got up and said first down.
It was
Um,
it was a perfectly placed pass by Mr. Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, and again, nobody's going to give him credit for any of those throws.
Nobody is.
The
Nobody
timing
is.
was perfect. Everybody knew, I think, in their mind that they were going to finish that drive. I mean, you saw it coming, and
You saw it coming.
You know, Christian McCaffrey.
Mhm.
What else can we say about the MVP caliber player that he is? Pretty much put the icing on the cake. So.
Well, and you saw too in the second half, Shanahan finally made the adjustments by, starting to run the ball between the tackles. And you saw early on in the first half, they were doing more sweeps and they were doing a shit ton of passing. In the second half, especially on the last drive, they just started running it between the tackles and they were getting chunk yardage off of his runs. That's what they should have been doing the entire game. And it's crazy that, you got Elijah Mitchell and Jordan Mason on the bench just sitting there when they could have done a lot of damage with the ball in their hands in these short yardage or in these runs between the tackles. And that's what I want to see more. I know we're not going to see it. We can talk about it all we want, but he likes to stick with Christian McCaffrey as his main running back for almost every single play. And Niner for Life writes, Green Bay, they were getting all the breaks early on in the game. Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yes.
Everything was going their way. And Antonio, I agree. That run from Brock was big at the end. And, he almost got the first down, but it just made a statement. All of a sudden they were like,
Yes.
oh, fuck.
Exactly.
Yeah, and he didn't slide. He dove. He went head first into that.
Yeah.
I think that's
Like,
an element
fuck
of
it.
that's an element of Brock Purdy's game that also nobody gives him credit for, is his elusiveness and his quick movement, being able to avoid pressure, being able to slip through the pocket at times and bounce outside, even give somebody a quick little head fake, juke outside. He's talented, man, and just because of the place he was drafted, I know, like I said, he's just going to continue to get that negative media coverage.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate because we see it completely opposite.
Felix Orozco says
Oh,
the
my boy
defense helped
Felix.
out. The defense helped out a lot, 100%. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Without the defense, this would have been the Packer game all over again. And that's what they wanted. They wanted to get ahead of the Niners quickly and kind of put them and make them one-dimensional. But the defense held up. There were two big drives, and they only ended up getting field goals out of it. I mean, it was 6-0. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, it was 7-3, then it was 7-6. But two big drives and just field goals, that's it.
Exactly.
And then the biggest one, obviously, was their last possession where they stopped them. And then the guy, what the fuck was his name? The kicker for the Pack.
Oh wait,
Anders Carlson.
Anders
He
Carlson.
fucking
Yeah.
missed the field goal. That was huge.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, that was a gift.
yeah, absolutely.
And Jake Moody,
Boy.
he made the field goal.
And he did. He came through in that one.
He did.
Yeah, definitely needed that.
Looking at the
God.
so, like I said, Aaron Jones, 18 rushes, 108 yards. Christian McCaffrey, 17 rushes for 98 yards. And to me, it was a tough 98 yards. I mean, he was getting pounded.
Absolutely.
Brock
Yeah,
Purdy, 6 rushes for 14 yards. There's that ugly Jawan Jennings run for -1. Like, fuck. Kittle, 4 catches, 81 yards. He had a touchdown. He also had the drop on that last drive, which that was like, oh, God. I was like, this is not going to happen like this, is it? Where they're just going to be dropping passes? Oh, that was brutal.
That Brandon Ayuk catch, I think, preceded that play because it was still a 3rd and 10. Well, we were expecting to get a first down with that George Kittle catch and then some.
What's crazy is that
we all knew he turned his head because he wanted to get that yak, obviously.
That or he didn't want to get fucking drilled. He was like, oh shit, oh damn it. Brandon Ayuk, 3 catches, 32 yards. What do you think it was about Brandon Ayuk? I mean, you would think that with Debo out of the game that he'd become the primary receiver, but I think the defense was honing in on Brandon Ayuk and making it harder
They had a safety high. He was their main focus. They were not going to let Brandon Ayuk come alive in that game. And for the most part, they bottled him up. That's kind of why Jennings had to go off. That's why, we had to have other guys make a few plays.
I mean, how many receptions did McCaffrey have? He had
right here. You know what?
Not displaying.
I'm not displaying it. Let me share it. I should learn to share.
Sharing is
caring.
Let's go.
Okay, so Christian McCaffrey had 7 catches for 30 yards. He was targeted 12 times. Yeah. And I feel like the ones that he didn't catch, those are the ones that went like way over his head. Or were like, were like, just throwaways. You're like, God damn it. Yeah. It was really okay. So the part that got me so upset was that you had all these naysayers talking all this shit about Brock Purdy, but then during the game, I mean, he was almost proving them right. And I was like, God damn it, Brock. It just felt like, I mean, there was a drop back where he was in shotgun. They hiked the ball. And as he's dropping back with his throwing hand, he wipes his hand on his pant. And then he throws the ball. He's trying to dry his hand off as he's playing. During the play, I was like, oh my God, what are you doing?
That's some composure, though. I mean, to be able to do that, go through your progressions as all the chaos
coordination
is happening.
I know.
You. I mean, I totally agree with you. But at the same time, I mean, I don't think there's probably a lot of people that could sit back there, dry their hand at the same time, going through your progressions with these beasts coming at you. I mean,
he was under duress quite a bit in that game too. I mean,
he was.
He only got sacked once, and it was a solid sack.
O-line did not play well, and I feel like
2 pass deflections by
our team.
The Packers.
I feel like our team couldn't get any traction. You saw the cameras flash over to the sidelines with all the pictures of all the cleats or changing of their the actual cleats and stuff. So I saw plenty of 49ers fall. I don't know why I didn't see a lot of Green Bay Packers fall. That kind of bugged me a little bit.
That's another thing too, is that the Niners were on the sideline switching out their cleats. And it's kind of like, man, you guys got to have that dialed in before they even get out there.
Exactly. That's what I'm
saying. And that was just that
preparation.
I heard some of them saying, Kyle Shanahan didn't have them ready to play. I don't believe that. I think the problem was that the game preparation did not include the rain. I think he thought the rain wasn't going to be that big of a deal, and it was. And the rain should have been a huge factor in his game plan. And that's where you use all 3 of your running backs in different scenarios to really just pound the rock and just crush their defensive line. And they didn't do that.
We don't have a 1-2 punch in the run game, right? The 1-2 punch is CMC. Other teams got those dual threat, even the Lions, they got Montgomery and Gibbs, The Niners are just CMC, and then occasionally you're going to see Mitchell and Jordan Mason at the end of the game.
When you need to give him a breather.
But whose fault is that? I mean,
or a breather, or a breather.
But whose fault is that, though? I mean, really, it's like you have 2 other talented running backs on your bench that you can easily use.
It's definitely the head coach. Yeah, it's definitely the head coach.
Yeah.
But
any other team would be using these guys.
McCaffrey's so fucking good. Why do you want him off the field? I mean, the guy.
That's the thing. He's so good.
He's catching balls. He's running balls. I mean, he knows how to block. I mean, fuck, come on.
But still, I feel like you could run plays with 2 running backs instead of Juszczyk. You could have Jordan Mason back there and McCaffrey, and then have McCaffrey motion out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just kind of draws.
At the same time, we weren't playing with Debo most of the game. And Debo and CMC really kind of do a lot of motion in the backfield and get the defense kind of fucked up. So you really need to have McCaffrey out there quite a bit.
Yeah.
That's what they did.
Great time to integrate Elijah Mitchell in the backfield. If you're going to motion Christian McCaffrey, you still have somebody in the backfield that can carry the ball and carry it well, and can catch out of the backfield as well too. We've seen Elijah Mitchell catch passes out of the backfield. He
is a really good rusher when he's in some open space.
Absolutely.
I'm glad after the game nobody from the Packers fans or players could use the refs as an excuse for losing the game. No, they just lost the game.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, they just lost the game.
They just lost the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
there was nothing that they did, the refs or the crowd, nothing. They just lost the game.
They lost the game. And
the Niners drove the ball down their fucking throats at the end of the game, and they punched it in with McCaffrey. That was perfect.
Touchdown. Something that Josh Allen wasn't able to do tonight. is
Oh,
No.
yeah, absolutely.
do what Purdy
I mean, look,
or Baker Mayfield.
the Chiefs have a good defense, but still,
fuck the Chiefs.
fuck the Chiefs.
Hey, come on. We
Chiefs.
got to mention Greenlaw and I want to pick six.
He's like a little kid. He's like, well,
I want to pick six.
Well, Fred's out. I need to get a pick six. I was like, dude, I get that, but fucking all of us in your garage were like, get down, get down.
The whole stadium,
all
I
of
guarantee,
Niner
was yelling.
Nation was yelling that. Everyone's like, get.
Teammates were trying to tackle him to get him on the ground.
So stupid. It's like, come on, bro. Just fucking kneel down. It's over.
Lenore and Warner chasing him, trying to tell him to get down.
All I saw was a random wide receiver coming over and hitting the ball out of Greenlaw's hand. You're just like, no. But no, it didn't happen.
If anything, this season he's had his instances where he makes some boneheaded plays, some ill-advised, unnecessary roughness penalties, late hits,
out of bounds hits.
It's a part of his game, I think, at this point, because it doesn't seem like he's learned. He seems to learn his lesson. Yes, it could have been a crucial. It was a crucial play. It could have something weird, especially how the game was going. Something fluky could have happened, but at the end of the day, I mean, 2 interceptions. He's my defensive player.
Absolutely.
I mean, in my mind, it was actually the ones that stood out to me the most on defense was Greenlaw, Warner, and Lenore.
Yeah.
I thought
Lenore played really well.
I think you may have to consider having him on the opposite side of Charvarius come the next game, and maybe think about what you want to do with Ambry, because Ambry did not have a good game.
No, he did not.
He did not. He was a mess out there. It was real bad. Behind.
And it's funny
he had
too.
That big PI too. Two of them. Right?
That's the thing is we've watched enough of him this season because of how much how much he started this season, and he's gone on. He's gotten a little bit more consistent. He's gone on these runs where he's playing really good football. But then every now and then he has one of these games where he just looks out of sorts. I don't know if it's the matchups. I don't know if it's he seems to body up guys. He's got the skill set. I think he has the size as well too. But there's just sometimes he just has these games where he ends up being very, very detrimental to what we're trying to do on defense, especially in the secondary.
I mean, and he was going against young receivers too that didn't have a lot of experience, and still, he's coming. It's one of those cases where when you get in that situation, you can't panic, and he panicked twice.
Oh, big time!
Where he's just like, "Oh shit!"
And it cost us, and it could have been a lot worse too. I mean, you think about that last drive with the Packers, and I think it was, maybe it was as they were trying to tie the game. Maybe it was the second to last drive. But you see Ambry Thomas lined up, playing press coverage. It's gotta make you nervous towards the end of the game after what we saw early in the game. So
David writes, everyone has given Jordan Love so much praise. He does deserve it. But what QB led their team to a game-winning drive? Love had his opportunity, but throws into triple coverage for an INT. Exactly. He had an opportunity to lead his team down the field, and he wasn't able to do it. He threw an interception instead.
Exactly.
And look, when the game counted the most, Brock came through, and he led the Niners to a victory, which was great, which was wonderful. He did it against the Browns, and Moody missed the field goal. What are you going to do?
Yes.
He wasn't able to pull it off against the Vikings or against the Bengals, but had the opportunity to do it. And this time he did. He came through, and that last drive, he looked like the Brock Purdy that we all know. I was like, that's Brock Purdy. He makes clutch, accurate passes to his receivers, and that's what he did that final drive.
Precision, yeah.
Yes, and he capped it off with that run as well. Just another way to say fuck you, the Packers, and the defense stepped up. The defense stepped up the entire game. Special teams sucked, but the defense stepped up the entire game and stepped up again in that final drive by the Packers, which went nowhere and led to an interception. The defense held them. And here's the other thing too: is that I know everyone was talking about how we had 0 sacks and 0 hits on the quarterback, but at the same time, though, you can't say that there was never a time that Jordan Love was concerned about Nick Bosa, Chase Young, Hargrave, Armstead, all those guys coming after him. there's no way that he was, just unfazed by that. And a lot of
Oh yeah,
times,
for sure, yeah.
a lot of times he would break contain, and he loved to roll out to his right, and then he would throw it, on the run and hit a receiver off to the side. He hit that one receiver rolling to his left. He hit that receiver on third down, and that was a huge play, which I think led to a touchdown, which that fucking sucked.
You pretty much saw Bosa and Chase Young off the edges getting chipped all game by receivers, by Aaron Jones. I mean, I felt like they lost containment a lot of the times, and that's why their outside run zone scheme was working the way it was. I mean, it's a chunk of Kyle Shanahan's playbook. I mean, Matt LaFleur and Kyle Shanahan go way back. We all know that. Yeah. But I think we were having a hard time setting the edge, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, losing Cleveland Farrell, I think it was a huge loss because he's really good at setting the edge.
Yeah, exactly, and playing the run game very
against
well.
the run.
Right.
And we lost him in the last game of the year too. It was like fuck.
Yeah, and not having that those sacks or consistent pass rush really put a lot of responsibility on those D-backs in the secondary.
Yeah, in the secondary. Right.
And the linebackers, and they had good games, for the most part, Thomas, but they had good enough games where Kevin Love had Kevin Love. I did it.
Kevin Love, K-Love, baby.
Somebody get wigs on him.
K-Love.
Where Jordan Love made some mistakes and benefited the Niners. So we can't forget about the play where it was on the first quarter. Thomas did the PI. The Packers got the ball down there, and Ward had a beautiful deflection on a fucking touchdown.
Yeah,
and
right.
and that's why you
move.
got these. That's it, man. These guys are good. The D-backs are good right now. They're playing well. It was just a great defensive effort. Yeah.
I mean, Charvarius Ward is an undrafted free agent that got signed by the Chiefs and became what he is now. So it's like, he's not the quarterback, but again, you're seeing another version of what Brock Purdy is, where he, came out of nowhere. Yeah, but
exactly.
Dude, the defense saved this game, and I think if there was an MVP of this game, it would be the defense. But let me ask you guys, who was the MVP of this game? We'll start with Niner Dan.
God, right on the MVP. I mean, I'm going to give it to McCaffrey. That guy really, he scored those 2 touchdowns. He caught all those passes. He ran the ball. I mean, he played so many snaps.
He was on the field, obviously. We didn't see anybody else.
So I tip the hat to CMC all day. Let's go.
Yeah, you already know my vote. I mentioned it earlier. Dre Greenlaw. We don't win that game without big game Dre. Clutch performer, sideline to sideline linebacker. Usually a sure tackler. Yes, obviously we talked about the boneheaded mistakes, which we have kind of become accustomed to. But other than that, he plays at an all-pro level. I mean, you hear Fred Warner talk about how he doesn't, he's not Fred Warner without Dre Greenlaw, and we all know it's the same way, back. Yeah. So Dre's my MVP from yesterday.
For me, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I mean, not really, but kind of. I'm going to say Brock Purdy. And and I agree with all you guys' picks, but I would say Brock because Brock Purdy, at the end of the game, I mean, look, most quarterbacks, I'm talking about, first round high draft pick quarterbacks, in that final drive, throw a pick and the game's over. Or fourth down, overthrown, turnover on downs, or get sacked. And he led the team down the field like he was fucking Tom Brady. I mean, nothing too flashy. That obviously that pass to Jennings was great. The pass to Ayuk was great, but just clean, concise, knew where to go with the ball, made the right read, had the good run, and got them down there to score a touchdown. I agree with all you guys' picks, obviously.
That's a good choice, though, Andre.
But I'm gonna go with Brock because he came through in the end when everyone said that he would not be able to come through. He came through and helped them win that game.
Oh Absolutely. Without him, without his gameplay, we're not winning that game.
He's the point guard. He facilitates. Absolutely, and he executed like Andre said, threw with precision and accuracy, which is what we're accustomed to seeing.
And he's not perfect.
Hats off to Purdy for 30, baby.
Purdy for 30.
Let's go.
The other question too is, let me see. Do I have this up? I said I put a poll in the chat. I said, do you think the 49ers are going to lose this game? 50% said yes. 50% said no. So it was split down the middle. It's good. It's good.
Yeah,
it's good.
We'll take that. And I can definitely understand that after watching that game yesterday.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put up the next question in the poll, and that is right. Let me see. Should the Niners attempt to re-sign Chase Young?
Based off what we've seen so far, I don't think he's really deserved an extension.
No.
And I'm just going based off what I've seen and what I've watched. I don't think he's impacted the defense the way we thought he would. I don't see him really wrecking shop on one side of the ball. You can argue that our defensive line still continues to struggle with the 4 base down pass rush. And again, from yesterday's game, I felt like we weren't able to set the edge, and he was on one side of the football a majority of the time, with Clelin Ferrell not being able to play yesterday. As of right now, I'm going to say no. I expect him to continue to improve and to continue to get comfortable within the scheme. Maybe it's going to take a little bit more time. He's going to need more reps through the postseason. But obviously, that's pretty much it. He's going to run out of time to showcase what he can bring to our team. And as of right now, I just don't think he's warranted in a contract extension.
Yeah, well, it really depends on the size of the contract. He's not going to get, top DN money.
Unless it's like a 1 year prove it deal, like another 1 year prove it deal.
I'm not going to hate it I'm not going to hate it if the Niners re-sign the guy. I loved him when he first came on the team.
Yeah,
the chemistry with Bosa that he had. I mean, they had some sacks in there. The defense was struggling at the time, and he really added a little bit of a jolt to that squad. So, I mean, I like Chase Young. Obviously, he's not the big impact dude that like a Nick Bosa is. And can he be? I don't know. Maybe
it remains to be seen.
But is it worth another couple years at a reasonable size contract? Absolutely, I think. Unless you got someone else in the wings that is ready to go.
Yeah, the impact that he's made. I mean, he's definitely helped. He's definitely helped the defense and defensive line. And if you notice too, I mean, they were using him more in third downs. Clelin Ferrell and what's his name, Randy Gregory, were getting the majority of the snaps. Unless it was third down, then they bring in Chase Young as a pass rusher. In this game, he was out there more often than not. And I just think that, has he helped? Yes, I think he's helped tremendously. But I think that the impact that you were hoping to get out of him, who's the number 3 pick in the draft, I want to say, you were hoping for a bigger impact. And so I agree with Dre that if we get a 1 year contract out of him, I would be all for that.
Yeah.
But I would not give him, a 10-year deal, 6-year deal. No. It has to be something small because you got to prove it. And I think the Niners can pull that off especially if going into the offseason, he doesn't get a lot of huge offers and they go, hey, we'll give you a 1 year deal to come back here and let's do it again. And he might do it. You might say, you know what, this team's already stacked.
Especially if we win.
That's what I'm thinking. It's all going to depend on the end result, and if we end the year on a high note and we're all pretty much looking into next season to try to run it back again. Obviously, this is all speculation if it does come to fruition, but I think it is worth, like Andre said, it is worth entertaining. It is worth entertaining, but I don't think you can throw the house at him, obviously.
No, not even close.
So. Not even close. So let's move on to the next game, and then we'll kind of circle back to this again, because I mean, this was holy shit. I felt like I was going to have a heart attack watching this game. And
I lost
again,
10 years on my life, brother.
Dude, again, this was a lot to me. This reminded me a lot of the Lions and Rams game, where watching the game, I was like, okay, the Rams are going to win this game. And then somehow they lost. Watching this game, I was like, okay, the Packers are probably going to win this game.
Good comparison.
And then somehow they lost. I was like, holy shit. It still feels like Niners lost, but they won.
That's the thing. That was the thing, I think, and why I think so many people were taking so long to realize that the Niners had actually won the game, because it did not feel that way. And even the players, even the coach, even Kyle Shanahan said it. We did not play well enough to win this game, but we persevered.
Yeah.
But these are the kind of games that good teams are going to pull together and win, right? And you need
exactly.
You need
Everyone
that
said
kind of
it.
fight.
Everybody said it.
Like Brock Purdy needs that experience to get into a matchup like this.
Oh, the whole team. The whole team.
The whole team for sure.
Yeah,
they need that, and I think that's just going to make them, make that skin
more battle
thicker,
tested.
And as we get deeper into this shit, and then you get to the Super Bowl, knock on wood, and then that's where you showcase everything.
Exactly.
So let's move on to the next games, and then we'll circle back to this game real quick. We got the Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. This fucking game pissed me off.
Powerhouses.
Fucking Mahomes, man. That guy.
We all knew what to expect, and I think we got what we expected. Offensive scoring at will. What a great game. I mean, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. I mean, at the beginning of the game, you saw all the comparisons to, the Tom Brady, Peyton Manning rivalry. And this is another one that we're going to be seeing as long as they stay healthy and remain who they are. So
look at Josh Allen. QB rating 86, 26 for 39.
I mean, not right now. You can compare Brock Purdy's numbers there. And I think Brock, you could argue that he probably had a more
that's what I'm saying.
game.
That's what I compared against.
That was almost identical.
Yeah,
hold on.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Let's bring up Brock real quick. What was Brock?
Jake Moody?
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, so 23 at 39, 252, one touchdown, 86.
Yeah, like 70 more yards than him. I mean, you maybe not as pretty much the same QB rating. I mean, come
23 on. For 39.
But yeah, you're not
26 to 39.
Yeah, 3 more completions.
Again, you're not going to give him his credit. It's just
right. I mean, look at that comparing against the Josh Allen, your prototypical big quarterback, big arm guy, make every throw. Okay, there it is.
I mean,
he threw some deep fucking passes, but they were just like absurd. It was like, where are you going with that? Holy fuck.
Yeah.
That's a great comparison right there. Look at the numbers.
What's up, Jose? He says, yo, Lions have dirty ass players and their fans celebrate it. They don't deserve it, no matter how sorry they've been in 50 years. Go Niners. There we go. There you go, Jose.
Yeah, break it down.
Normally during the baseball season, Jose and I are arch enemies because he's a big time Dodger fan, but he lives in LA, so it makes sense.
Well,
no,
horrible play calling on the last drive. Yeah, it just.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was a good game.
It was a good game.
Yeah.
And Buffalo early on was dominating through the run, just pounding the ball. And the Chiefs were like, oh, shit. And then all of a sudden they kind of went away from that and they just started airing it out. And it was like, what the fuck? And they let them right back in the game. And I can't stand Taylor Swift in the box. I really can't.
Oh.
Not only her. Now you have Jason Kelsey.
Back there with no shirt
pounding
on,
his chest, drinking his beer,
a Bud Light,
pouring his beer on one of the fans, maybe.
Oh
just like the Carolina GM.
It's just ridiculous, dude.
They're all stupid.
I mean, the biggest issue for me is that when you look at Josh Allen, 12 rushes, 72 yards, 2 touchdowns. James Cook only had 61 yards. I mean, that's your primary running back. Your primary running back right now is Josh Allen. He had some great runs in this game. But Stephon Diggs, that was his rushing, but passing wise, 3 catches, 21 yards. But they were D'ing him up pretty well. They were making it very hard for him to get to Diggs. So he had to go to Kincaid and Shakir. 7 catches, 44 yards, 1 touchdown. But again, when it comes down to it, the fucking Chiefs and Mahomes did it again. Travis Kelce, 5 catches, 75 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's just like, who's going to go there. But the guy's hard to cover. I mean, he's huge and he's fast.
They scheme everything up for him. They like to get him out in space. I mean, he's probably not as fast as he once was, but I mean, the guy can still get open. He's got great hands. He knows how to finish.
And then
arguably one of the best tight ends in the NFL still. So
McCole Hardman had that run where all of a sudden it got knocked out of his hands and it went into the end zone for a touchback. I was like,
Yeah, that was
holy
awesome.
shit!
Yeah, and they
fucking
had an
awesome.
opportunity to put the game away if they retain that. I mean, that's pretty much they're going up 14 points.
But they got the ball and they didn't even do anything. They went 3 and out and they punted it. I was like, oh my
exactly.
god, what are you doing?
And that was the story of the game. Being able to march the ball up and down the field, but just couldn't capitalize when they needed to. They would stall. You had to leave it up to Bass for the game time field goal.
Richie James, little fucker. Ex-Niner.
Richie, that's right.
He's on that team.
That's right.
Do it for Richie.
But look at, I mean, the Chiefs had 0 sacks. The Bucks, the Bills had 0 sacks. So we're the only team to get 0 sacks on each other. So,
there you go.
and let's not talk about old DeMar Hamlin's 2-yard run. Oh my God. What the fuck were they thinking? I was like, why are you doing a fake punt so deep in your zone? I was like, oh my God. When I saw that, I was like, this game's over. It's fucking done. Why would you do that?
Stupid.
You just fucked yourself.
I mean, that's just classic case of why Buffalo continues to lose to Kansas City in the playoffs.
Hey, but Felix is right. Diggs had a big fucking drop. It went right through his fucking hands on a bomb that would have changed the entire game. And it's like, dude, you're the #1 receiver, man. You got to fucking catch that.
This is what we've seen year after year. Yeah, they had their win against Kansas City midway through the season. To keep their playoff hopes alive, I think it was back at that point too. But I mean, it's a letdown on all phases of the game. Special teams, offense, defense, coaching, you name it.
I mean, I didn't see anything.
Choke job.
I didn't see anything special the Chiefs were doing that I was like, yeah, they deserve to win this game. It just felt like the Buffalo Bills kept fucking up and giving them opportunities to take the lead, blown coverages, fucking stupid fake punts. You know what I mean? Like
Stupid fake punts.
Like, what are you doing? Like, even if you got that first down, you're still so far deep in your zone that it's not going to make – you still got to drive the fucking ball. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing right now?
Yeah. Didn't make it. And they were on their side of the field.
Exactly.
Like at the 30 or 35.
You don't do that with number 15 staring you down on the opposite side of the field.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, cool, thanks."
That's like no respect. We're gonna roll the dice here.
We're gonna roll the dice here.
This is a good fucking idea.
And then I want to say that was Isaiah Pacheco's 29-yard run was when he got all the way down to like the 5-yard line. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. And I think
that was fucking dumb. They fucking choked this game away. And then not to mention good old what's his face. Tyler Bass fucking missed. And look, they were doing the same thing. They were doing the same fucking thing the Niners were doing. I said it too to Daniel at the game. I said,
they're playing.
I said, I was not really thinking straight either, but I was like, Kyle Shanahan is going to run the clock down to either, basically, he was going to run the clock down and score a touchdown to leave them with almost no time to do anything.
Right.
And that's what the Bills were trying to do. They did a horrible job at doing it. And then he missed the field goal. And it was just like, oh, now you fucked yourself.
Oh, yeah. And to that point, that was exactly what I think most fans saw what Shanahan did there. Is just, let's just get this touchdown and leave as least amount of time on the clock as possible.
Yes, exactly. Absolutely.
And that was executed very well. Very well executed.
And on the other hand, with the Bills, it was executed very poorly.
Oh, garbage.
And like, they could have ran so many plays, out routes, short slants, shortcuts, or check downs just to keep the ball rolling. And they didn't do that. He kept chucking the fucking ball down the field. And look, I know the guy's big and strong and he can throw the ball probably outside the fucking stadium. But look, there was one pass that he threw to is it Stephon Diggs or is it? Yeah, Stephon Diggs that he should have caught. And that would have changed the game. And he went right through his hands. And I'm sorry, but if you're the #1 receiver on your team, you have to make that catch, and that costs them the game. Mm-hmm. Then you put the game in the hands of their kicker, Tyler Bass, and he fucking missed. And then they left themselves no time, and they were like, "Well, now we're fucked."
There's even no guaranteeing you're safe at that point, even with tying the game with Tyler Bass.
Yeah,
you leave over a minute for Kansas City to go down and drive down and kick a game-winning field goal.
Right,
I mean,
we've
seen that story before. So there's no guarantee that this game would even ended in the Bills' favor, even had they made that field goal.
And that's what made that failure of Josh Allen not being able to get in the end zone really, it's a great comparison to what Brock Purdy was able to do to get us in the end zone. It's kind of almost the same conditions.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You got to get you got to get a touchdown.
Exactly.
You got to get a lead.
Exactly.
And you saw what happened in Buffalo.
You have exactly, to your point, you have this game with Josh Allen trying to come down, get the game-winning points. You have in the Niner Green Bay game, Jordan Love, even though the Niners scored the game-winning touchdown, still left a minute and 5, a minute and 10 left on the clock.
They did.
For Jordan Love to go down and kick a game-time field goal. And then Baker Mayfield again in the Detroit game had an opportunity to get the game close, throws an interception. So all this talk about Brock Purdy not being a clutch quarterback, I mean, the results continue to pile up in his favor, and people still don't want to give him the credit.
Yep.
It's crazy, man. And
It's
again, now fucking Mahomes is back in the AFC title game. And
that was his first away playoff game, I believe, in his career.
Whatever, dude. I'm so sick of seeing him there, but it is what it is.
Yeah, he's pretty much perfect in the playoffs, except for the one loss to Cincy, I think, that one year.
And let's go to the next game, which is the Texans at the Ravens. Now, I thought the Texans had a chance to win this game. Going into the second half, the Ravens just turned on the gas, and it was like, see you later. They completely annihilated them in that second half, winning by a score of 34-10. Let me pull up the stats on this real quick. Go ahead.
I mean, what can you say about Lamar Jackson? I mean, you're pretty much going to be your MVP candidate. We know the word out on him was coming into this postseason, 1-3 in the playoffs. But he answered the call, and he answered it with a convincing win against a really good, young and up and coming Houston.
Look, he only had to throw the ball 22 times.
CJ Stroud, obviously your rookie.
Yeah, 2 touchdowns.
You have D'Amico Ryans as coach, pretty much your coach of the year. And they pretty much walked away with this, no problems.
I mean, he ran 11 rushes for 100 fucking yards. That is incredible by a quarterback to pull off. He had, and did he have 2 touchdowns in the air and 2 touchdowns on the ground?
Yes.
Yeah.
He had a 4 touchdown game.
Yeah. He
with a quarterback rating of 121.
Yeah. I mean,
he annihilated them.
No, not crazy like stats, but just super efficient.
On both ends.
Yes,
I mean, this is like what McCaffrey does in receiving and rushing. He's doing it in playing the quarterback position and running with the ball.
We call Tyreek a cheat code for the receiver position. Lamar Jackson's the same way for the QB position. I mean,
and this is what's going to make it hard.
Can do pretty much anything.
Like for the Chiefs to stop him, and also the Niners. If we make it to the Super Bowl and we take on the Ravens, this is going to be a very difficult game for the Niners to stop Lamar Jackson.
You got to have a QB spy on him the whole time. I mean, and I don't even know if the Texans did that efficiently enough during the game. Obviously, he was able to scamper for 100 yards. He averaged pretty much a first down a carry.
Yeah,
that speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Well, so if there is a weakness within the Baltimore Ravens, I think it's all their role players. I mean, yeah, you have Lamar and he's incredible.
Right.
But then who else do you have? You got Justice Hill, Gus Edwards, Zay Flowers. He's good. Rashad Bateman, Isaiah Likely, Odell Beckham.
You don't have your all-pro tight end either. He's out for the
Nelson
season.
Aguilar, who's a bust. You just got a lot of guys, and not these big playmakers.
Nobody that scares you.
But what they do really well is they just play well together, and they follow through with their scheme.
Football. They play backyard football.
Mm-hmm.
When the play breaks down, Lamar Jackson's going to do enough to keep the play alive. He's going to buy time to get your receivers, who eventually will get open. It's almost physically impossible to cover in a secondary for more than 5 seconds. And he pretty much will give you as much time as you need to get open, make a play.
We talking about some soccer.
Yeah, seriously.
Somebody Axel. He lives in Australia, so
football.
Australian league football.
Love it.
With Lamar Jackson, I mean, this guy's probably playing the best I've seen him play. I mean, that team is really around that quarterback. The whole team is built around him right now, and you can really see it kind of, turning heads. I mean, the Ravens kicked our ass, Niners ass when we played on
Yeah.
Christmas Day, and they haven't looked back since.
No, they have not.
Yeah.
But
They got Justin Tucker, clutch kicker.
At Tucker.
The defense played very well. I mean, I'm pretty sure they had a couple of turnovers, if I'm not mistaken. The numbers speak for themselves as far as the offense, but like I said, it's nothing to write home about. Yes, obviously the touchdowns, the 4 touchdowns, but they're not crazy numbers, which tells me the defense had a lot to do with containing CJ Stroud, containing the run game, and containing a young and up and coming Texans team who have made plenty of noise this season. And will continue to make noise next year. They're going to be a surprise team next year.
No, definitely.
They're going to be contending for sure.
I think D'Amico Ryan should win Coach of the Year,
Absolutely,
although he might
hands
lose
down.
to what's his face in the Lions.
Oh, yeah.
Campbell.
Campbell.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Dan
Campbell.
Campbell. Big Dan
Yeah.
Campbell.
Yeah. Bite your kneecaps, Dan Campbell.
I know. But overall, though, look, I mean, this was a game that most of us thought was going to happen. I thought the Texans might be able to pull it off with D'Amico as their head coach, and he calls all the defensive plays from the sidelines. I thought, maybe they got something schemed up that could be really good, but unfortunately, the second half, they blew their socks off, and it was lights out for
the
the
wheels
Ravens.
fell off. I mean, look at CJ Stroud, 175, 19 for 33. I mean, he didn't have a very good game. He came down to earth. The Ravens had a great scheme for how to play against CJ Stroud, and and
then look at the
very well.
running game.
They bottled him up. Yeah.
Singletary, 9 rushes for 22 yards.
That fucker's been running around everywhere.
Circle that, Andre. That's the story of the game right there.
Right there. That's it.
There it is. That's it.
One-dimensional, couldn't move the ball. I mean, and the difference, too, between, like, let's say the Niners and the Ravens both having the bye week was that the Ravens looked rested. The Ravens were flying around the field, and that's what I expected out of the Niners, and I think the rain had a lot to do with them not kind of slowing them down.
Yes.
It's one thing to say, oh, well, it's, the Ravens, in Baltimore, it was cold. I don't give a fuck if it's cold.
Yeah,
if
you're not slipping.
If it's wet,
you're not slipping and sliding everywhere.
we saw Travarius Ward slip. We saw Tayshaun Gibson slip, which led to a touchdown.
Greenlaw slip.
Everybody's slipping.
Greenlaw slip right in the beginning, which led to a first down. That slip by Gibson, if he doesn't slip, then he's step for step with that receiver, and I don't even know if he makes that catch with Gibson all over him. You don't know, or does he even make that pass? He's just like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
But once he slipped, that was it, touchdown.
That was it.
Yeah.
But Lamar Jackson was a story with this game. Completely dominated. 16 to 22 for 152 yards, 2 touchdowns, 121 quarterback rating, and he rushed 11 rushes for 100 fucking yards. It looks like in total he had 4 touchdowns. He just annihilated the Texans.
Yeah.
And then moving on to the AFC Championship game. Now we go to our next game, which is going to be the Lions and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Look, I never thought the Buccaneers would even get that far, and I thought they made it a game for the most part, especially in the first half. But the Lions just ended up pulling away. I mean, Jared Goff went 30 for 43 for 287 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 103 quarterback rating. But Baker Mayfield, 26-41, 349, 3 touchdowns, but 2 picks.
Yep.
That's not good.
Yeah,
No.
I mean, if you're talking about straight up numbers, yeah, you could argue Matthew Stafford and Baker Mayfield had decent statistical games. Definitely more so Jared Goff. No interceptions, obviously. 103 QB rating. And that's pretty much the tell of the game was the turnovers, the ill-advised turnovers. But for the most part, an entertaining game, back and forth, exchanging blows, offensive blows. Amon-Ra St. Brown had a great game, averaging almost 10 yards a catch.
Yeah, 8 catches, 77 yards,
He
a
had a
touchdown.
really
Targeted 14 times. I mean,
14
he is.
Look at Laporta targeted 11 times. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
This tells you right here where he wants to go. Yeah, he's like, I want to go to my tight end or Amon-Ra, and that's it.
That's a great 1-2 punch. That's going to be very formidable for the years to come, barring their health.
This might be a game when you look at the Niners and Lions, right? I'm jumping ahead a little bit here.
Yeah. No.
But this might be a game where I would say, I would tell Travarius Ward, you need to follow Amon-Ra St. Brown on either side of the field. Wherever he goes, you go. Just like what he did against DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
I think this is a game where you have to do that.
All pro on all pro, and you got to prove it. This is the time where this is the playoffs, and it's the time where your best players have to step up and take the responsibility to cover the best player on the opposite side of the football. So you're exactly right.
The Niners have great linebackers that can cover. So that's going to be a lot harder for fucking Laporta to get out there and
that's going to be the matchup to watch. That's
what's going to be that matchup. I mean, look at the fucking targets he had. He had 11 targets. Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Levante David had 13 tackles. That guy was everywhere.
Yeah,
because he even had sacks.
9 catches.
Yeah.
The Lions seemed very well balanced this game. They were getting plenty of doses of Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. That's a great 1-2 punch.
Gibbs is a badass dude, man. I like Gibbs.
Both change of pace, have their own style, but are very effective in the backfield. Great pass catchers, both of them. So they're interchangeable. And I don't really think, you have Rachaad White on the opposite end, but I don't think the Tampa Bay had that 1-2 punch. Detroit definitely had the advantage in that aspect of the game.
And I want to say for where is it? For the Lions, they have a pass rusher. Which one is it?
Like they had what?
Is this guy?
Alex. I call him the new. Who's that guy from the Packers back in the day?
Clay Matthews.
Clay Matthews.
Yeah. He had six tackles. CJ Gardner-Johnson had the interception, had a pass deflection. He's really good. Now, I find this to be very interesting that, when we move forward now, okay, so look, the Lions took care of business, knocked out Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers. I think everyone saw this one coming. This was kind of just like it was a matter of time before the Lions pulled away, and if the Buccaneers pulled this one off, there was no way they were going to get past the Niners. So they were kind of dead ended. It was just kind of a bookend. Like they're either going to end here or the next game.
But look at Baker's yardage. I mean, scroll back up to the top and look at what the Lions gave up.
349 yards.
They're susceptible. They're still susceptible. They're still susceptible.
Mike Evans, 8 catches, 147 yards.
See, I mean, that's
a touchdown.
That's a leaky secondary. That's a leaky secondary.
But look at this though. Not only that, but he had 3 receiving touchdowns. Nothing on the ground for touchdowns. He threw the ball for all touchdowns to Rachaad White, Cade Otton, and Mike Evans. And so through the air, they might be that might be a place where they take advantage. But I mean, they just got CJ Gardner-Johnson back. This guy's really fucking good. I think it's going to be a tough game, but I think where the Niners are going to benefit from this is that Jared Goff can't run.
He's not mobile. Yeah,
you had Jordan Love, who was fucking running around, scrambling and shit. And who can throw on the run.
Well, they had design plays where he was leaking out of the pocket to throw the ball. So.
So with that being said, let's talk about next week's games that are coming up. And let's start with the Niners and the Lions. Again, I think that this game is going to be a really, really good fucking game.
Very happy to be talking about this game.
Now we're back to this again. I think Brock will be a lot sharper. There's going to be no rain on next Sunday, which is great. And I think that, look, he had a tough time against the Packers. They played extremely well. They had a good... Both defensively and offensively, the Packers were very, very hot, and they were playing well together as a team.
Yeah, arguably the hottest team coming into the playoffs. Even to this point, you could argue they were probably even hotter than the Detroit Lions coming into the playoffs as well too. But
and the Lions are a very young team, and now having back-to-back home games, and now going to San Francisco, virtually cross country. Playing outside, not in the safety of your dome. I think
Niners
this is definitely
an extra day of rest too.
Yeah, I think the Niners are definitely going to have the advantage on these guys. They've already played against a solid Green Bay Packer team. And you're right. The Niners have always sucked against mobile quarterbacks. Jared Goff is not a mobile quarterback, and I think our pass rush is going to get to him very easily. And Wilkes doesn't call very many blitzes because he allows the front four to apply the pressure. But if he does, we got to, so there was a stat where Jared Goff, oh God, what was it? He had what is it? I think it was the most touchdowns against the blitz. He also had the most. I think I can't think of it correctly, but it was either the most interceptions or the lowest passer rating against the blitz. So he doesn't handle pressure very well.
No, he doesn't. You get him
And
rattled.
he never has.
You get him off his rhythm. He's gonna throw. He's gonna give you an opportunity to make a play for the defense.
And like I said earlier, I would definitely have Charvarius Ward just glued to Amon St. Raw. I don't care where he is, you stay on him. Yeah. Just like with DK Metcalf. If he could do it with DK Metcalf, he could do it with him. And if you take away that option, you make that option a difficult option to go to, then he's going to be looking for Laporta, which everyone else will be covering. And then it's up to these other guys, the Jameson Williams and the Brock Wrights and the Josh Reynolds and the running backs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And those running backs for the Lions, especially Gibbs, you get him out in open field, man. He is hard to tackle. That guy, and he catches the ball really well out of the backfield.
No, he's their third down running back.
He's
going to
have to have some eyes on that dude.
Well, and not only that, but then getting Eric Armstead back, I'm like, okay, this should shore up a lot of our run defense issues, and it felt like it really didn't. But when you look at the numbers, though, like I said, Aaron Jones, you take away that 53-yard run, like he only has what, like 60-something yards running or rushing. Yeah. I mean, it changes the whole complexion.
Maybe like 40 to 50 yards rushing.
I think it was more like 54 or 53.
Yeah,
I remember seeing a stat on the TV where it was like 52 yards rushing Aaron Jones. I'm like, oh fuck this dude.
Yeah,
a fucking big one.
I know.
For the most part, it was the one. It was the one he sprung. It was the one he sprung that obviously boosted those final numbers. But for the most part, yes, it is what it is. We didn't really hear Eric Armstead's name called throughout the game, but I think he was going about his business, clogging up the middle,
which you don't a whole lot anyways.
You'd like to see them apply a little bit more pressure in the pass game right up the middle. I didn't really see the impact from Hargrave like we're accustomed to.
Here, keep going. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I pretty much throw that to the whole thing with the rust and the weather conditions.
Yeah, but you saw when the Packers ran the ball, they had a helmet on a helmet. You know what I mean? Like everyone was getting blocked.
Exactly. Yeah.
A lot of times you see Fred Warner coming sideline to sideline and making a tackle on a running back, where in this game he was coming from one sideline and getting blocked immediately.
Yeah, they were chipping. They were chipping. You're exactly right. They were chipping alongside the whole line of scrimmage. You give the Packers credit. They executed their blocks. The receivers executed their blocks. It's like I said, it's a chunk out of the Kyle Shanahan playbook. This is what we do to teams, and for some reason it was happening to us just because of the actual matchup itself, but.
I call bullshit on the refs. I mean, how can you fucking block like that and not get fucking more holding penalties?
That's the thing is, I want to say the night if you go back and look at the stats, or if you look at who's reffing the Niner games, they have to be the one team that has the least amount of holding calls.
There should be like a whole stat category on these refs.
It's absolutely
how many
ridiculous.
blown calls do they make a season? I want to see a referee with a
I want to see them getting audited, getting evaluated.
Let me see a referee rating on these fuckers. Put that stat up every once in a while.
Fuck these refs, dude.
They're fucking balls to the fire.
They all fucking have money on the betting line.
And blow it. Oh, absolutely.
They got these guys on their fantasy teams.
Yeah. Like, bro, I could win like $2,000 if I let them. Fuck gosh.
No,
I would love to see that. A little bit more ownership on the refs. Besides,
they're not going to get it from
they're not going to coach. They're not going to ref the next game. It's like, okay, well, why not? Why don't you tell us what fucking happened, fucker?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's fortunate.
No,
fucker.
No accountability from the league. We all know that. So,
Niner for Life writes, we can easily beat them if we don't beat ourselves as usual. But
Correct.
I really need to cut down on the penalties. Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna post that to Rust. You don't have those types of penalties. We don't. We haven't been accustomed to seeing that many penalties in a single game by the 49ers, at least
I mean, how
From
many
what I can
penalties
remember
Niners
from-
have? I mean,
I
can you
was
look
trying
that
to
up?
find that right now.
They had 4 or 5 for 66 yards just in the first half alone. I remember
Yeah,
that.
it'd
Seeing
be an
that
interesting
stat
stat right
come up.
there. We can get a comparison between.
We
Green
got
Bay.
But again,
I got it right here.
was
6
a
to
lot of-
1.
Yeah, it was a lot of late
6
late
penalties
reaction.
to 1.
Yeah, it was a lot of late reaction to the
Wow.
ball.
They
On
only
some
had
of
si-
those-
they only
on
had
some of
one
those
penalty.
What
Yeah.
was the one penalty? What was the one penalty? Does
I
it
don't
say?
know. It doesn't tell me.
It was the
What was
offsetting
it?
penalty. It was the offsetting penalties on that scrap on
Oh,
the
it's a
sideline.
flagrant. Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
nothing even happened. They technically weren't even really penalized when it all came down to it because they threw flags on both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right here, 6 to 1. They had 5 yards penalty. We had 83 yards in penalties.
83 yards.
They had 2
so
fumbles.
I'm gonna test that to Rust and just not playing sound 49er football. As the
Well, but not only that though, but look, they had 2 fumbles, right? One of which was a
yeah.
toss that went through the guy's
You're right.
hands. He was able to stop, go back, and pick it up and fall on it. I was like, "Are you
Yeah.
fucking kidding me?" And then the kick return, the guy literally lands right on the ball. I was just like, "Oh my god, we're not gonna catch a break. This is ridiculous." And the
Well, and that ball came flying out too. It's like, boing! It's just
Flanagan Fowles hit it out. Yeah, it was like,
right out.
and just like Dre was saying, it kept going towards the end zone. It was like, let's go.
I wanted
guys,
to
like,
fucking jump to the
yeah.
TV.
yeah.
I know.
Get that fucking ball, motherfucker.
There was like 3 penalties we had on third down.
And I want to say they were all on Ambry Thomas.
Well, 2 of them were. 2 of them were on Ambry Thomas.
I know.
One of
I'm
them
exaggerating.
on
I'm exaggerating, but
Tayshaun Gibson, but it felt like Ambry Thomas every time.
I'm telling you, they were obviously gunning for him. They weren't going to really try to test Charvarius Ward on one end. So
No, they weren't.
You got to expect them to be attacking the one side, and that's something that we're going to have to look for in this upcoming game with the Detroit Lions and San Francisco. Is they're definitely going to be looking at what Green Bay did to execute at a high level, and that's one of the things that brings a little bit of concern to me is that we are sound on one side of the field as far as the secondary is concerned, but the other half has been a little susceptible. It was definitely susceptible in this last game, and there may have to be some adjustments in this game if we want to make sure that we're where we need to be by next Sunday.
Sure. You know, if you look at that time of possession, the Niners worked hard to get to that 29 minutes to 30 minutes.
Oh, they were killing us in time of possession.
They were killing us in time. Packers were killing the Niners in time of possession in that first half.
Keep our offense off the field.
Niners worked hard to get that back. So that's awesome.
A lot of that came back in the second half too, and
the
longer methodical drives to put up some points. And
I mean,
execute,
look at
man.
this. I mean, time sack. He got sacked once. He got sacked 0. So it wasn't like they were crushing, but I felt like they got more pressure on him.
Yeah, and I felt Brock Purdy actually took some. I mean, you never want to see your quarterback get sacked, but I think the timing of when he actually did take those sacks, nobody's going to talk about that stat of when he's making the right decision to not force anything down the field.
Right, exactly.
Have something very bad or very negative happen.
Well,
he threw the ball away multiple
game.
times.
Yeah, absolutely. But
he did.
He did have the one that
I want to say he did. I'm not sure if he actually did, but I'm pretty sure he did.
Oh, he did for sure.
Some of the throws, I was like, oh, that was a throwaway. That was a throwaway.
That Brock, maybe in a different game, maybe they pick off those 2 balls, but they didn't.
Let's talk about that. I mean, Brock had 2 passes that one of them could have been a pick 6 if the guy would have hung on. If Savage would have hung on to that, that was a pick 6, and he dropped it. I was like, all of us were like, oh!
That one time, the one time he's actually staring down his receiver coming across the middle of the field, and he doesn't see the safety just kind of floating there in the middle of in between the hash marks, and he read it perfectly.
He'll do that too,
He
man.
threw it right in his chest,
but
of course, we all know why you play defense is because you can't really catch the ball at times. But
here's another thing to look at too is that as much as the Packers were winning on third down and kept getting those penalties and extending drives, you look at the third down comparison. We were 10 of 16. They were 7 of 13.
Yeah, that's a big number, and I saw a stat pop up where the Niners are 4th in the league on third down. And
I mean 10 to 16.
That's efficiency right there. I mean, passes for first downs, 12 of them. I mean, there we go.
Yeah, passes first down. Where we said, 12 right there.
Yeah.
Rushes for first down, 7 and 7. So they were they began to kind of play them as the game went on.
Exactly.
It's just there was
see
so
how
many
close of a game it was. It was
the numbers definitely
total yards
tell the whole
330 to 356, total plays 62 to 64.
Like as much as we probably didn't want to admit it, by the end of the day we realized how well this Packers team actually matched up with this Niners team.
Time of possession 30 minutes, 29 minutes.
Exactly what we're talking about. The
neck
numbers
for neck,
literally
man.
tell the whole story.
The biggest difference was right here
as well.
Yeah,
that was the biggest difference. It wasn't just
it was the interceptions that got it.
It was turnovers. I was trying to find interceptions too.
Yeah, too.
And the last one obviously that just sealed the game. And I was like, dude, like we said earlier, Dre Greenlaw. I'm like, fuck, get down. And it was like, what are you doing?
You and all
Stop!
of Niner Nation was telling him to get down.
I could be get down.
He was going for
trying
it, man.
to tackle him to tell him to get down.
I was like, get the fuck down. What are you doing?
I want to celebrate in the end zone.
I know. He's like, oh,
give me the
Fred
pick
Warner
back.
said I was going to get a pick six.
All pro Fred told me to.
Even Fred Warner was like, yeah, when he told me that, I was like, oh my God, man, what are you talking about?
Yeah, dude.
I could just get down.
The lights turned off, man. It was the weirdest thing I've seen.
David writes, champion teams win ugly games, and that's what we just did. We will return to our dominant form. Lions have the 29th ranked pass defense. Brock is going to pick them apart. Okay, so that is true, but
fuck it. I mean,
but here's the thing, though.
350.
Yeah, he's like he wanted a pick six.
He did.
He did.
but again,
like son of a bitch.
But again, it's like they have the 29th ranked pass defense, but on the last game of the year, they got back CJ Gardner-Johnson. That guy's hella good. He was one of the main guys against the when he played for the Eagles last year.
Yeah, he's an
okay. So this is what I wanted to kind of talk about. Was that I think it's kind of interesting that we have not only the Lions on this historical run for their franchise, right? The whole city's behind them. Whatever. I don't give a shit. But you had some shit talking between CJ Gardner-Johnson and Deebo Samuel earlier in the game or earlier in the season, and now they're going to play each other. If Samuel plays, which I think he's going to, yeah, and now they're going to be playing against each other in the NFC Championship game. So that's an interesting story going into it. But I think, again, what the fuck was up with Deebo Samuel? Like, first he leaves, and then he comes back wearing the pads, and then he leaves again, and then he goes back wearing a sweatshirt, and then now they're like, oh yeah, he's fine, he'll play.
No, I think you're right to bring it up. It's a little concerning because originally everyone thought it was basically concussion protocol.
Yeah.
But I think in that what ended up transpiring in that hit, obviously he does take the hit to the head, but I think he might have landed on his shoulder. And I know I want to say one of the Green Bay Packers did land on top of him. And who knows, maybe it was a shoulder injury and a concussion at the same time. And he probably just didn't want to admit it. But I find it really strange and how everything kind of transpired where, yes, he was cleared to come back because of the concussion, but then a couple series later, he's out because of a shoulder. So
and
weird for the game.
It had to have happened on the original play.
Yeah.
Most likely, yeah.
And what was it? Adam Schefter reported that two of his sources in the locker room said that essentially they basically said that, like, yeah, he'll likely play on Sunday. And so, I mean, he's fucking better. Cortisone shot that shit up, man. Like, you gotta get the fuck out there.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. This could have been.
But here's my question, though.
This could have been the last game of the season.
My question is that do you think it was the Niners or do you think it was Deebo who was like, I'm out? It just seemed really weird. It was like, what's going on?
I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure that's the Niner organization. The medical
it's the medical doctors.
I mean, he looked annoyed.
Yeah, I think they make that call. Right? Yeah,
he looked annoyed when he came out. He was remember when he's going to the locker room with his shirt off. He was just like,
"Well, fuck! Wouldn't you be annoyed?"
Yeah.
I know, but that's
probably in Deebo's mind, he's still okay to play, but he obviously was not medically cleared to come back into the game.
No,
with
I don't
whatever
think he
injury he
was.
had or sustained.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I mean, it is what it is. The Niners still won the fucking game without Debo.
They still won the game.
Still won the game. What do you know?
Well,
And guess what? That's one less weapon for Purdy, motherfuckers. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
He
still
did it
fucking
without
came through.
Debo.
He did it without Debo. Now,
Yeah.
don't take CNC now, but
Yeah, seriously.
Actually, you know what? No, I'm not even going to say it. I was going to say, maybe they should. And then Mason and Mitchell will get the 1-2 punch. And it's like, oh, we can't stop him, you know?
we did this because of Nicotina.
Yeah, we watched his stream. He's a football guy.
He wanted more Mason. He checked all the boxes.
He checks all the boxes. You know that Chip Kelly, fucking potato chip Kelly.
Yeah, potato chip Kelly. Jeez.
You know that
God, that guy.
I forgot what year it was in that draft when he was the Niners coach. He told Trent Baalke and the staff. He said, "Hey, I think we should draft Dak Prescott." And you know who Baalke drafted instead? He drafted fucking Will Redmond, another ACL tear guy that never even fucking played.
Dude, Balky was all about, you got torn ACL? You can play. You check the box.
Well, we'll rehab him and get him out there.
Oh, my God. I don't know. Every year they were drafting torn ACL guys.
Who was that running back they drafted who they got his knee ripped off? And he was like, yeah, I was shocked when I got drafted. I was like, wow, you drafted me? Holy shit.
He couldn't get, the pain was too much. He couldn't.
Lattimore. Marcus Lattimore. Marcus Lattimore. I remember my buddy Chris was like, "Oh, I can't wait to see Marcus Lattimore." He never made the field.
Yeah.
I think he practiced a few times.
He was supposed to be like a top-rated running back. He fell to like the third round, and of course the Niners.
Yeah, because he blew his knee out. And everyone was like, "I'm not gonna."
Oh, he's a bargain. He's gonna play. I think he played. I'm
gonna shock the NFL with this selection.
I mean, was there any of those ACL guys that actually made an impact on the league?
No.
I don't.
Lattimore,
no ACL projects had.
Lattimore was like his big project. He was like, "Man, if I could get him back, this would be incredible."
Dude, and ever since Balky was fucking fired from the team, we haven't done stupid shit like that. I will say though, Lynch has missed on some big draft picks.
He's missed on some, but he's gotten really good on some of them. I mean, look,
he's hit more than he's missed. And
Dre Greenlaw, a fifth-round draft pick.
Yeah, let me
George Kittle, a fifth-round draft pick. You know what I mean?
First-round picks.
His first-round picks have sucked. I mean, look at Trey Lance. I'm sorry, but he sucks.
It's the back-end
Solomon Thomas
that have been
good. Oh, and that was the year that they could have drafted Christian McCaffrey, and they took Solomon Thomas.
It's like, oh, dude.
They should have just drafted Christian McCaffrey that year.
When you see the pick,
was it that year?
No, I think it was. No, that was the year they gave up they traded with the Bears, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the Bears got Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, they went out and got Trubisky.
Yeah, they got Trubisky, and he's garbage.
Let me see if I can find it real quick.
He's trash.
No, Trubisky, he's a fucking backup.
Yeah, and he's a backup, and he got benched for Rudolph.
Yeah,
that's right.
What happened to fucking Kenny Pickett?
He doesn't want to be a backup.
Is that what happened?
Well, you hear the rumor, right?
What?
That he was healthy to play, not this playoff game, but like 2 games prior to the end of the season, and he was healthy to play as a backup, and he didn't want to be a backup, so he didn't play.
Oh, what a dick!
What a dick! Come on.
He's just like, get me out of here. I should be a starter somewhere else, even though I sucked ass all year.
Only as a starter.
Okay, so looking at that draft, oh my god, yeah, it was okay. So number 1 was Myles Garrett, solid pick.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mitchell Trubisky.
There he is. Yeah.
Solomon Thomas, fucking sucked. Leonard Fournette, he had his moments. Tennessee drafted Corey Davis. I don't know who that is.
Oh, wide receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Serviceable, nothing special.
Jamal Adams, good player.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, he's always hurt. Mike Williams. Every Mike Williams
for the
sucks.
For the Chargers, right? Mike
Williams. Yeah, Mike Williams for the Chargers.
He's good.
But he's got 31 touchdowns in his year. Yeah, he's always hurt. And then number 8, the Carolina Panthers, Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
They
Fucked
should have
up.
just taken McCaffrey from the start.
Fucked it
This was
all up.
bullshit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Trent Baalke.
And then 2 picks later,
Check the boxes.
Patrick Mahomes. But nobody knew
that's right.
Mahomes was going to be this good. Nobody did.
Nobody saw that coming.
No, he just all of a sudden just
Andy
took
Reid
off.
apparently. Andy Reid.
Well, he wanted a quarterback, so he's like, all right, well, I'll just take this guy.
Yeah, I think
Um,
Mahomes only sat 1 year, and fucking you're the starter, bro. Fucking
I mean,
got rid of Alex Smith, and that
Pick
was
number
it.
30 was T.J. Watt, and guess what? Pick number 31 was
Go ahead.
Reuben Foster. Remember that guy?
Oh, and you know what? When that pick came through, you're like, "That's a good fucking pick."
Yeah, but this is great. And then he fucking like,
Oh,
what did he like beat up his girlfriend, or he did some stupid shit. It was like, all right, you're done.
A criminal,
Total
straight up
bonehead.
criminal.
And then he ended up on the Raiders. Remember? It was like, oh, get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that
he's
didn't
not
last
even
very
playing.
long either.
No. Fuck him.
I'm trying to see if there's anybody. Buda Baker. That was in the next round. I'm trying to see if we missed out on anyone after we took Reuben Foster. Joe Mixon. That I mean, he punched a girl, but yeah, he's a good running back.
It's the first draft of criminals.
Yeah.
I know,
round
man.
draft.
That's all it is. This is a rough one.
She's
Juju
lying,
Schuster.
bro. She's lying.
Did you guys see the video of Joe Mixon punching that girl at the restaurant? He fucking decks her, and she hits her head on the table and falls on the ground. I was just like, whoa.
Yeah, he's
And-
like, oh fuck.
I brought that up
Hey, let's
to
go,
a bunch
dog.
of
Let's get out of here, dog.
yeah. I brought that up to a bunch of Bengals fans on Twitter, and they were like, "Oh, she hit him first." I was like, "What the fuck? I don't give a shit."
You didn't see the whole tape.
David says, "Bring back Buckner." I agree. I want the Forrest Buckner back as a Niner. When we had him, holy shit!
Yeah, him and Armstead.
Yeah,
were
Him and
like-
Armstead,
they're like the
when
same
they
size.
The
traded.
best D line we had is when it was Bosa, Armstead, Buckner, and D Ford. That was the line that was
that was that
unstoppable.
Boy,
Yeah.
D Ford, man, that guy
Yeah,
was so fast and
we
strong.
got-
but
yeah, we got
just
him
couldn't stay healthy.
right
That
before
back was
the
messed.
series of injuries, and he was
Yeah.
never the same.
After
Yeah.
that first year, he was always like, "Oh, I'm out."
Yeah, and then they released him. I see you, bro.
Well, they were paying him too much money. They were like, "Fuck that!
Yeah.
I'm not paying you this much money just to sit there and be hurt the entire time."
I thought he restructured his contract there so that they can save money on him, but
They did.
I
They
don't
did
know.
just to try to keep him around, but
Yeah,
enough was
yeah.
enough.
Yeah, he needed to go. He's
But yeah, this game
always
against the
hurt.
Lions is going to be a really fun game to watch. I
Yeah.
think we're going to see more explosive plays throughout
Yeah,
the game
yeah.
rather than just segmented. I think it's going to be a little bit more
Yeah.
consistency from Brock Purdy. I think Goff is going to throw the ball like he usually does. That run game is really good.
Potent. Yeah, we gotta
Run
make sure
game. We're going to say it again. Got to stop the run.
make them
in order to
one-dimensional.
Make it one-dimensional, and it's all about executing on the field, and these guys get paid millions of dollars to do it, so they better fucking do it.
Yep.
okay. So let's see. I'm trying to look up their stats. Oh shit! What happened here?
I'm going to text Shanahan right now.
There you go.
Kyle.
This is what you should do.
Yeah.
Yeah, script that first series for him, Daniel.
I'm going to send him the link to this podcast right now and just
Yeah,
Yes,
and-
just
Yeah,
stream
check
and
it
be
out.
like,
Check it
just,
out, bro.
Just listen. This is the voice of Niner Nation.
he'll learn a lot. He'll be like, "Oh
Yeah,
wow,
he'll be like,
okay,
oh,
I was not aware of that."
I need to have more Mason out there.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I need to be a running back by committee.
I didn't listen to the other guys. Like Grant Cohen brought it up like many times. I don't listen to him, but these guys, they got it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see where they rank in a lot of these. And I'm not. No, thanks. I'm not really seeing it. First downs. No, this is all just like number stats. Like, oh, they had this many.
Next gen stats.
Yeah.
You're like, what does that acronym stand for? What the fuck is that?
Well, you hope in this game that, like you said, Daniel, it's going to be about applying pressure and getting to Jared Goff.
Yeah.
He's not mobile. He gets frazzled in the pocket if you can make it a little chaotic. We're going to need our DNs to set the edge for the run game. We're going to need to be able to bottle and contain Amon-Ra St. Brown. You got to look for Sam Laporta in the middle of the field. So Dre Greenlaw again and Fred Warner are going to have another big game in pass coverage and in the run game.
Yeah, definitely.
Offensively, you hope for better weather conditions. You hope you're going to get a better game from Brock Purdy, where he's not going to be having to wipe his hand as he's trying to go through his progressions to make a pass.
Yeah.
I think we're actually, because of the gut check we just received this last weekend, I think you're going to see the Niners come out and be the team that we're accustomed to seeing. I know we expected that this previous weekend. It didn't happen, and I think there were a lot of factors that played into it. But
Yeah,
this is their second chance at life. This is their opportunity to correct that awful game from last week, and I think it's going to be even if it is a close game, because give Detroit credit, they're here for a reason. Exactly, Felix. It could be a very high scoring game. Especially if the defense is going to be as leaky as it was last week. But again, with no inclement weather conditions, with our team now having a week of actual live, meaningful football, I think you're gonna see a better product on the field next week.
Yeah, and the start time, it's a 3:30 start time.
Yeah,
that's a good time right there
on the defense.
Yeah,
we're talking a lot. We're talking a lot about the what they got to do on defense. On offense, the offensive line was leaky at best. I felt like the weather, they weren't able to really get traction in the run game at times. That's why Christian McCaffrey pretty much wasn't able to run wild like we were hoping he was going to be able to. So, you got to account for Hutchinson off the edge. You got to account for their playmakers. They're going to send the blitz. We all know how aggressive they like to be, not only on offense, but on defense at the same time.
And they got a good defense, man. The Lions have
they're scrappy.
Defense.
No.
Yeah.
The knock on them has always been their offense has always been, even when it was in the Stafford days, the Megatron days, their offense could always score. It was their defense that was atrocious. Their defense could never stop anybody. They have the defense to at least compete. Their secondary is leaky. They can be scored on, but you gotta handle the front seven. If you can handle the front seven, I think we have a really good chance to win.
Yeah.
Trying to decipher some of these stats. I'm just fucking falling behind here. But still, I think that the when it comes to the Packers, the Lions and Niners, I think the Lions are going to come out and try and make a statement early on. They're going to try and air it out.
They're going to try to take the playbook from what Green Bay did.
Yes, they're going to try to score early and get a lead early to make them come from behind, but I just don't think it's going to work very well against these Niners. The Niners defense has seen what happens when a team gets ahead of them. I mean, look, the Packers did everything they could to get a lead against the Niners, and they didn't let it happen until later in the game. I mean, it was 7-6, you know what I mean? And
a lot of bend don't break for the defense.
Yes.
Not letting them get in
that
the end
fourth
zone.
down. First of all, the fourth down that he was going to go for it, that was a dumb decision. Even I thought that during the game. I was like, why were you going for it?
Yeah.
I was like, it's still early in the game. Just kick a fucking field goal.
What a huge play that was. I mean, they tried to do the fucking eagle fucking butt push.
Tush push. Yeah.
The tush push.
Yeah.
And he didn't get anywhere.
And then again, Dre Greenlaw, my player of the game, making the initial hit to stop the momentum moving forward from Jordan Love that I really believe caused the turnover on downs on that play.
Yeah.
Timely play by a
timely play, man.
Defender.
Just a better team yesterday. Niners were a better team.
Exactly when it mattered most.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's going to be a good game.
For sacks.
It's going to be interesting, the Ravens and Chiefs too, man. Those guys, that's going to be a pretty good fucking game right there.
That should be a great matchup.
Yeah.
You think Mahomes pretty much has the advantage of just because of his track record.
No,
Lamar still has to prove to everybody that he can win in the AFC Championship because he hasn't to this point.
Yeah.
So I think they have the team to do it this year. They have the defense to stop Mahomes. We know how the offense has struggled for KC this year. This is the Ravens' best opportunity to do it. Just like the Bills, this was their best chance and opportunity to beat a KC team that's just not what we're accustomed to seeing. Yep. They couldn't do it, but I think the Ravens can.
This is a good point that he brings up. The Lions can't hold leads in their games. They've all been close wins. It's true. And in fact, against the Rams, I felt like they were going to lose that game.
Yeah, everybody I think thought they were going to lose that
and
game.
And then they let the Buccaneers hang around for a long time.
They did.
But when the Niners played the Buccaneers, I want to say it was kind of the same thing where at halftime we were winning, but we weren't blowing them out. And then by the second half, they just kind of pulled away.
Yeah.
It was a weird game.
No, I think if we can keep it close or if we can have some type of lead going into the half, regardless if we receive the ball or not, Detroit is not a great team in the third quarter. And I think that's where the game can be won essentially for the 49ers is in the third quarter. If we can defer and get that ball back and even have a 3-point lead or a touchdown, whatever the case may be, having that momentum to hit them in the mouth in the third quarter and get that lead, make them play from behind for the rest of the game, make them panic a little bit. They're not going to be it's going to be foreign territory, especially in the biggest game of the season.
Yeah. I agree. I think the Niners defense is going to come out ready to play.
Yeah.
And the offense, I think, is also going to be more ready to play. No rain this time, so now they can make their cuts. I think Brock will have a much better game.
Yeah.
I do think that Shanahan needs to kind of have a game plan to kind of free up Brock early on and to really run the ball. I mean, we have one of the best running backs in the league, the leading rusher in the league, and we're getting real pass happy. It's like, dude, run the ball between the tackles and fucking just get chunk yardage. And that just wears the team down.
For the game that it was and the weather that we had, I'm surprised Brock Purdy got to 39 pass attempts. I mean, you see a stat like that. I mean, I think that's why the game was so close and stuff. But at a certain point, we probably felt that Green Bay was containing our run game a little bit, and Brock had to make some plays. And
a lot of those passes went to McCaffrey too. And that's why
he had 12 targets.
And that's why I thought McCaffrey was the MVP. I mean, the guy is just incredible. He can kind of do it all. And
he's the safety blanket. He's the safety blanket Brock Purdy needs.
Right. Without him and not having Debo, we would have been fucked.
Exactly.
Seriously.
Kittle as well. I mean, I thought Kittle had a great game. He had that one drop that was like, a total gut check.
Yeah.
But overall, though, I mean,
other than that, I mean, he had a good game. He caught that beautiful pass. He got past that I think it was a safety that was guarding him, number 26. And just made a fantastic catch, beautiful throw.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So as we wrap things up here, let's do our score predictions. Okay, so let's start with the Ravens and Chiefs. Daniel, what is your prediction for this game? Final score?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a Ravens victory. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a closer game than what you've seen the Ravens do so far this postseason. I'm going to say maybe let's go with 28-21, something kind of close like that.
Who's going to win?
We're going to see Ravens. Yeah.
Does somebody have a pencil to write these down?
Yeah, it's all camera. Just replay it later.
Yeah. So 28-21.
28-21.
Ravens.
Yeah.
All right. Dre, what do you got?
Pretty much what I alluded to just moments ago. I think this is the Ravens' best opportunity to take out Kansas City. Lamar Jackson, I think, is going to have another big game. Kansas City's defense is good. They're a little inconsistent with getting to the passer. It's going to be even more difficult bringing Lamar Jackson down unless they have a strict game plan and a spy on him the whole game. I think he could potentially have another game like he did against the Texans. I could see it being very close. I could see it coming down to the wire. I can also see the Ravens maybe running away with it, maybe a 7, even a 10 point lead by the end of the game. I'm going to go with 31-24 Ravens.
Solid.
Okay. I think the Ravens are going to dominate this game. I haven't really found very many flaws in their game, defense or offense. I think the Ravens are going to win this game, and they're going to win big. I'm thinking 42-21. I think they're just going to blow them out.
Okay.
Because I have not seen a team completely shut down the Ravens lately, and defensively they are just flying around. And I think that this kind of defense can expose the weaknesses of the Kansas City Chiefs, especially on offense. David writes Chiefs 21-17. Wow, he took the
Yeah, he
Chiefs.
thinks
Oh, Chiefs.
he's calling the
Chiefs.
upset. He's calling the upset.
He's calling the upset.
I mean, at this point, how can you go and bet against Patrick Mahomes? Playing his first
I think you can
playoff game.
if you have an offense like the Ravens,
Yeah,
where they have a
keep him off the
dynamic
field
runner
and keep him off the field. Run the
Yeah.
clock.
Yeah, I think the Ravens win big in this game. Okay, so let's go to the main event, at least for us. Niners and Lions. Daniel, I'll start with you.
Niners, definitely Niners. I think you're going to see a more comfortable Brock Purdy in this game, which is going to really get that offense flowing on all cylinders. And that's what we really want to see. I think the defense is going to show up like they have been. They made some great plays against the Packers, game-winning plays against the Packers. So I think it's going to be a Niner victory. I'm going to go 35-21.
35-21.
Love it. Love it.
David in the chat, he says Niners 34-21.
See, there we go.
Love it. There you go, David.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Nice. I like that.
Okay,
I do like that score point. I think you're going to see a cleaner game from our Niners.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're going to see Brock Purdy have a more efficient game. I think you're going to see Christian McCaffrey break out even more so than what he showed us in a gutsy, grinding type of game that we experienced yesterday. The defense, I think, is going to come up with a couple of big plays. I think our front seven will get to Jared Goff.
Yeah.
I think we can disrupt his rhythm, his timing, and he will make a couple mistakes. I'm going to go 28-17 Niners.
28-17. And the Lions have, as their rushing defense, wait, what is this? Oh, this is old. Oh, no, this is new. It was January of this year. So the Lions' rushing defense is ranked 19th in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
The 49ers is ranked 8th. So I think they can do a better job at containing the run. When you look at Aaron Jones, he had some really good rushes, but at the same time, you take away that 53-yard run, he doesn't even break 80 yards.
Yeah.
So I think they did a great job at containing him, especially in the second half. You didn't see a lot of those chunk yardage runs you saw in the first half.
Yeah.
The second half, he got that big run, and that was pretty much it. He didn't do really anything else.
Mm-hmm.
I think that even with the two running back set, with both running backs, with what are their names?
Singletary and
Gibbs and Montgomery.
Jameer Gibbs
Montgomery and
Montgomery. Sorry, David Montgomery.
Singletary is on the Texans.
Mike Singletary?
Can't win with him. But even with those two guys, I still see the Niners being able to contain those guys. Those guys are unproven, and you're taking that young ass team on the road into a hostile Levi Stadium. The crowd is going to be fucking amped, and if the Niners can score early, it's going to really put a lot of pressure on Jared Goff, and the Lions. Goff is not a mobile quarterback. I think our pass rush is made to destroy quarterbacks like Jared Goff.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the Niners are going to win this game, and I think they're going to win 34-17.
Mm-hmm.
There it is.
Let's go. Bang, bang.
And at halftime, I can see the score being, I don't know, 14-10. And then we just blow them away in the second half.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Again, like I said, they're not a third quarter team. If you go and look at the numbers, they struggle in the third quarter. They get out to leads. They have a hard time, like he said, keeping those leads. And I think essentially that's where the game can be won, is in the third quarter.
And David's going to jump to the Super Bowl and say that they're going to beat the Chiefs 38-14.
That's my boy.
I would love redemption. Redemption,
but isn't this some shit that the two teams that we get to play is either the Ravens or the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Both teams we lost to in the past two Super Bowls.
Yes.
I still think that if we play the Chiefs, we can beat them. If we play the Ravens, it's going to be a fucking hard game.
Yes.
That's going to be a harder game to predict.
Yeah, and it's just because of what we witnessed earlier in the season when the Ravens came to our house and disrupted everything we were trying to do. We were on a hot streak. We were one of the best teams in the league,
Yeah.
Yada yada yada. They were as well too, and that's why they're going to be a formidable matchup, like Andre just alluded to.
But at the same time, when you look at that game on Christmas, right? Everything was going good until Brock threw the interception in the end zone for the offense.
Yes.
Defense, they held them almost the entire first half. And then
they did.
you can only hold that team for so long without any help from your fucking offense. I mean, if your offense can't do anything, eventually you can't hold them all game. It's like,
how many picks did Brock throw in that game? Was it
four?
Four of them.
Two were in the first half.
Fucking 4 of them.
Yeah,
it was rough.
So
it was rough.
Let's not worry about that.
Our defense.
That was then.
Yeah, we move forward.
Defense wins championships.
Well, guys, that's going to do it for the show. I want to thank everyone who came out here. I want to thank Niner for Life for a super chat. I want to thank Kinky Sphincter for dropping that super chat as well. We're going to be live again, same time, same place, next week after the NFC title game on Fox. That's going to be a really good game. Niners and Lions.
Niners.
And, of course, we got the other game, which is the Chiefs and the Ravens. I still think the Chiefs are going to lose, but you never know. When it comes to Mahomes, you never fucking know.
Count out Patrick Mahomes.
I can't wait. Can't wait.
Should be great. Last few weeks of football.
Best football.
Stoked.
Let's go.
Niner for Life says, I hate giving score predictions. That's why I never say them.
Do it for the Bay.
Bang, bang. See y'all next time.
Thank you for tuning in, guys.
And we will see you guys next week for another edition of the Dre Era Sports Show. Peace.